I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
The people leaving aren't crazy. They're early. They're not doomsdayers. They're mathematicians. They read the writing on the drywall before the house caught fire. Because if you actually run the numbers, Canada is the only G7 country where being brilliant is a financial liability. You get punished for trying, and that's the part that no one's talking about. Forget patriotism. This country turned your productivity into a prison sentence.
We found the average Canadian family paid 42% of their annual income in taxes. This is the single largest expense for Canadian families.
That's more than what Canadians spent on basic needs combined.
You graduated with $100K in debt. You got taxed like a criminal for working overtime. And the only path to wealth is gambling on real estate in a rigged casino. Meanwhile, the people who run this country, they couldn't run a hot dog stand. And the people voting for them still think the problem is too many Airbnbs and not enough feelings. So yeah, Canada's best are leaving. You build a business, here comes the CRA with a crowbar. You try and hire someone, get ready to drown in red tape and EI premiums. You finally earn a decent income, now you're funding 4 levels of government, $5 billion departments, and Brenda's cousin's pension. You're not living in a country, you're working for a cartel. And they call that patriotism. Meanwhile, Australia's poaching our doctors, Miami's got the tech bros, Portugal's eating brunch with your ex-marketing director. And who's replacing them? No one. Because Canada can't afford to import ambition either, just more dependency.
Let's face it, the 3 million people coming in, maybe a little more than 3 million coming in over the course of 3 years was just the biggest policy failure in the history of Canada.
Let's talk real estate, because you know this one, you feel it. You were told, buy a home, you'll be safe, but no one told you the truth. You weren't buying shelter, you were buying a tax trap. Because if you ever try and move, guess what? You don't just move, you pay tax on everything you own. It's called departure tax. And it's the CRA's way of saying, oh, you're not feeding us anymore, pay us first. Your stock's taxed, your business taxed, and that little condo you never even sold, deemed disposable. Better file a 42-page form explaining why you dared to chase freedom. But you know what's wild? That's not even the scam. The scam is this. Most people don't leave, not because they love it here, but because they're trapped by the one thing they thought was safe, their house. The same house that's bled equity for the last 18 months straight. The same house that costs $8,000 a month to carry at a 5.5% interest rate. The same house you can't sell because the market turned into a ghost town with pot lights. Let's get savage for a second here. Your home didn't appreciate, your money got diluted. The only reason your house hit 1.2 million in 2021, I know you, we all thought we were rich, was because we printed money like it was toilet paper, while importing more demand than supply. You weren't a genius investor, and neither was I. You were just early to the Ponzi scheme. And now, the music has stopped. Rates are up, wages are flat, and listings are sitting like a 2008 Chrysler on Facebook Marketplace. Meanwhile, what is the government doing? Same thing they always do. Punish movement, reward stillness. You want to build? Good luck. Regulations, permits, consultations, shadow taxes, and 6 years of maybe. Meanwhile, a Wendy's drive-thru goes up in 90 days. And here's the punchline. They can't fix it. If they make housing affordable, boomers get mad. And the banks bleed because the majority of this economy is papered over with real estate. So they stall, they lie, they subsidize the illusion.
Gregor Robertson is now your housing minister of Canada. It's come out to a rocky start when he was asked a question from a reporter about house prices and whether or not they need to come down.
Go down. No, I think that we need to deliver more supply, make sure the market is stable.
Gregor is talking about the well-known secret that everybody wants affordable housing, but nobody wants their house to become affordable. And so this is really the playbook that we've been talking about for quite some time around housing, and it is a one-sided game.
And they let the productive class burn while selling you resilience and rent caps. And if you think this is a housing issue, you miss the whole damn point. This is cultural rot, a spiritual depression disguised as inflation. Go outside, you'll feel it. People are angry, they're hollowed out, the light's gone, nobody builds, nobody risks, everybody's on edge waiting for someone else to make the first move. So guess who leaves? Not the weak, the smart. The ones who saw the trap and said, I'm not dying in a country where dreaming gets taxed. If you live in the greater Golden Horseshoe and you're even considering selling, you don't need some old man on a billboard. You're glued to your screen. So is your buyer. I'll put your home on 100,000 of those screens in 14 days or less. Guaranteed. You sell faster, you sell for more, you stay in control. Grab the free seller guide or book a call. And watch what happens when you launch your home like a product drop and not a prayer. Now let's talk about the one thing no one has the balls to say. Canada doesn't have an economy. It has a spreadsheet full of excuses. Natural resources sold off, tech never funded, innovation buried under paperwork and carbon taxes. Our GDP build two things, tax collection and housing speculation. That's not an economy, that's a pyramid scheme with healthcare. Let's finish the job, because if part one was a throat punch, part two is going to sledgehammer to your system. You're not just watching a housing crash, you're watching a national identity crisis in 4K. Canada used to make things. Now we make PDFs and excuses. We used to build planes, now we build policy documents about maybe building planes in 2043. After an environmental review. We used to be scrappy, now we're soft. Not because Canadians got lazy, but because the system got addicted to easy money and passive landlords. We sold ambition and called it equity. Want to know why people leave? It's not because they hate Canada, it's because Canada hates friction. And friction is how greatness is born. This place doesn't sharpen you, it sedates you. You make 6 figures, you're the enemy. You build a business, now you're a loophole. You speak up, you're negative. The moment you demand more, the whole country treats you like you're a virus. So the best people, they leave quietly and win loudly. Let me ask you something. When was the last time a world-changing company came out of Canada? I'm waiting. No? No one's innovating. They're refinancing, no one's building, they're just borrowing. The only thing that scales in this country is resentment. We turned real estate into religion and tax compliance into culture. Our cities don't build communities anymore. They just build resentment between renters and owners. Landlords get villainized, renters get abandoned, and the government gets rich. Meanwhile, here's the secret that you weren't told. Most Canadians don't own their homes. The banks do. You're not a homeowner, you're a debt serf with granite countertops. And here's where it gets dark. If you try to sell now, you get laughed at. You either lose equity or worse, reveal the lie. Because the whole thing only works as long as nobody sells. Your neighbors are thinking the same thing. They're just too scared to say it. They check their mortgage balance at 3 a.m., they stare at sold listings like ghosts, and they wonder if the realtor is lying or the buyers are just gone. Spoiler, they're gone. And the ones still here aren't buying homes, they're buying time. Living with parents, delaying kids, waiting for interest rates to drop like it's 2020 all over again. But here's the wild part. Even if rates drop, affordability won't return. Why? Because wages didn't move, because supply never got built, because the taxes, the regulations, and the bureaucracy never left. The rot in this country is structural, not seasonal. Let's go macro. Canada's GDP is built on 3 things: real estate, government spending, and taxing the first 2. That's not a loop. That's a Ponzi scheme, and now the exit doors are crowded. But most people can't leave. Why? Because they're too house rich to qualify for help, but too cash broke to escape. This isn't just a market collapse, it's a middle class extinction event. You can't save, you can't earn, you can't breathe, and if you speak up, they call you privileged. But here's what the smart ones realize. You don't fix this by yelling, you fix by leaving, with your money, with your talent, with your time. And that's exactly what's happening. Doctors gone, engineers gone, tech founders gone, not because they gave up, but because they stopped playing a rigged game. Let me hit you with a truth bomb. If Canada collapses, the world won't blink. We're 0.4% of the global economy. We don't build the future, we lease it. From countries that still value sweat, innovation, and speed. So if you're still here, you've got 2 options. Keep pretending the system's fine or start acting like time matters. Stop waiting for politicians to save you. Start thinking like people who already left. They saw what was coming. They knew the math and they knew the system was broken. The only real equity is attention, because in 2025, the people who win aren't the ones with the nicest homes. They're the ones who know how to tell a better story. To the right buyers, at the right time, on the right screen. If you live in the greater golden horseshoe and you still think this market's going to save you, it won't. But I might. 100K phones, 14 days, targeted, aggressive, guaranteed. Sell smarter, sell faster, sell for more. Click the link below to grab my guide or book a strategy call. Because in this market, attention closes deals, not awkward smiles and stale cookies at your open house. No fluff, no rescue coming, but you've still got options. So pick one and let's go.